So, YouTube Nation, the Penguins gave me good fortune with the Lindenhurst show, and I think they just gave me some good fortune again with the East Islip show. Let's see what we've got. Cue the intro. So, the Lindenhurst, the East Islip show, rather, was back in September, and of course I couldn't pass that up because they just started up again, and there were some very good findings. Of course, um, scouted. I scouted the tables first before I began to pounce, and I made off pretty good. So let's see what we've got. Um, there was a fellow by the name of AJ. I'm not sure if AJ has subscribed to the channel yet, but he lived not too far away, and he was there selling several items that I had believed belonged to his father or grandfather, and he just had all this stuff, didn't know what exactly it was. He had no interest in the hobby, but what did catch my attention from AJ was an AHM Alco C420, I believe. It's not the correct box because it came in a box that whatever could fit. It says a dummy for it's a switcher dummy, but this was a perfectly intact Amtrak C420. Couplers are intact, and with it on another table that the guy had, because he didn't have room on one table and he had a separate table just behind me, there were, come out, don't be camera shy, not one Amtrak gondola, but three Amtrak gondola cars with loads, and they were in excellent shape. Also from the same fellow was an Athearn blue box P42 locomotive, and it is powered. I'm not sure if I have this road number, but you know what? He was selling them for these things for a very reasonable price. I didn't run the locomotive because when I picked it up, I heard something shaking inside, which to me meant that the motor was loose. The motor mounts are also kind of telltale of rotted motor mounts. And you have a loose spline. The paperwork is here. the ladders are loose in the box. But I got all these items from AJ for $40. So that is a true blue bargain. I am going to have to replace the couplers because these are garbage Bachmann Easy Mate Mark 1 couplers, and I'm not a big fan. So I'll have to replace the couplers. Also take a look inside to see what sort of work I have cut out for me to get this girl running again. So we have those items. And just give me a second to seal up this box. Yeah, I know. You caught me putting the top on the wrong way. Give me a second. Cut me a break. Incidentally, I am somewhat intrigued by the hidden art of, or rather the fine art of weathering. So I might weather these gondola cars, but we'll see. Now moving right along, from my vendor friend Peter. Here we go. I picked up two gold motors, or brass motors, or motors with the brass flywheels. One is this flywheel is perfect fitted for a 4-axle engine, and this is for a 6-axle engine. And I am going to clean them up, make them nice. I do have something in mind for the 6-axle motor, for a future project. But he was selling them for $20 each, and I got them for $25 or $30, which is, you can't beat that with the bat. So we have those. Now, moving right along to my friend Jerry. I should point out that the last whole video, which I believe was for the Lindenhurst show, Jerry had, if I didn't mention it then, I'll mention it now. He had acquired a huge collection of HO locomotives and rolling stock. And those two bi-level Cuttle Amtrak cars, that is from that acquisition. And there's a lot more, and Jerry, you gotta let me come to the store. Anyways, so give me 1 second to remove everything from the bag. No peeking. There we are. Hold on a second. Alright, sorry. Had to fight with the tripod. So, from Jerry, I got two Walther's passenger cars. And I'm pretty darn certain these are Walther's. They do kind of, I don't see the brand name, but I'm pretty sure these are Walther's, because the coupler housings look slightly similar to the auto racks by Walther's that I've picked up from Jerry and from other sellers, and like the auto racks, they have these garbage Bachmann Easy Mate couplers. Now, Walther's passenger cars, as everyone might know, are not budget friendly. And I could say the same thing about the Walther's auto racks. And if you're going to sell a piece of rolling stock for a king's ransom, for goodness sakes, put quality couplers on these things. Don't put this cheap garbage onto these items. If you're going to sell something as quality, put a quality coupler on it, like a KD coupler. For goodness sakes, it won't. I mean, it'll be worth the money that you expect people to spend, even for a pre-owned Walther's passenger car or auto rack. Common sense. So that's my rant. But these are really very nice. Moving right along, this was on my radar for a while. A AHM Rivarossi E8 in the Baltimore and Ohio livery. This is the livery color. These are the colors of the livery that my eternally adorable wife likes. It is powered because it is heavy. But it didn't run on the test track, which means I'm going to have to go in and investigate. So we have that. Next up, we have an Atlas Amtrak, what do they call them again? Dash 832BW in the Phase 4 livery. And now I have two Walther's mainline Dash 832 BWs. One's the Pepsi can, one is this same livery. But I've been wanting an Atlas for a while. And it is powered, but it didn't move on the test track, which leads me to suspect that I may be dealing with another DCC locomotive, or DCC enabled, a DCC ready locomotive that needs to have its blanking chip moved to a different spot in order to be DC enabled. So we have that one. And lastly, we have this gorgeous specimen. This has also been on my radar wish list. It is I had to look it up. This is an and I forgot what it was. Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, this is a General Electric U25B in the New Haven livery that I've been looking for. I've been looking for a locomotive with this livery of New Haven. And again, it didn't run on the test track, but what did happen was when I did put it on the test track at the East Islip show, and I'm going to switch it on. Switch on. That that's what it's been doing. So with the bell ringing, are the lights on? Is anyone home? No. I may be dealing with a DCC enabled locomotive. Um, so I'm gonna have to put it on to the DCC-EX, one of the DCC-EX main lines, set it to the programming mode so that I can find out, what makes it tick. But I am very excited. So you're gonna have to sit tight, and we'll get these guys to the test track. I mean, yeah, to my layout. Stand by. Okay, first things first before we go to the layout, I have to take a look at the AHM E8 to see why that's not running. Then I have to take a look at the Athearn P42 that I got from AJ to find out why that's not running. And then I'm going to take a look at the Amtrak C424, see if I need to clean it up and give it some lubrication. Then we'll go to the layout. Okay, so here we are in the layout, post repairs and investigation. We have the Athearn AMD 103 P42 that I got from AJ. As I suspected, when I cracked the shell open, the motor mounts were just absolutely gone. They were just rotten beyond recognition. Fortunately, I did have spare motor mounts available. I cleaned the motor, the commutator, because the commutator also was filthy. So I cleaned the motor, cleaned the commutator, lubricated it, put together the whole linkages, gave it some lubrication, including the red lithium in the gears. The gear towers themselves were in very good condition, hardly any oxidation, and as far as the shell itself and the frame, a lot of the detailed pieces were missing, or rather, not missing. They were just detached. They just came off. So, because this particular frame was like metal, I used this type of CA, Aleene's Jewelry and Metal Glue. You can pick this up at Michael's. Not 100% positive if Hobby Lobby or Walmart carries this, but it's ultra. It says ultra control, and it also, I believe it um, it's quick drying. I didn't want to take the chance with regular CA, but all the detailed pieces are holding. I did use CA on the fan grill, because that was just loosey goosey. So, but we do have ourselves a running locomotive. I kept the original headlight, the original bulb. I didn't put in an LED for the backup, so that'll be another project for another time. As for the couplers, they came with the crappy Bachmann EasyMate Mark 1 couplers, and they're just garbage. And I do need to get the correct KD coupler for this locomotive, because according to the KD website, you need, I believe they're number 27s, and of course I'll have to look that up to make absolutely positive. So I just reverted them back to good old horn hook couplers. So we have that. So next we have, also from AJ, the AHM Alco C424. Nothing was really wrong with this locomotive. Of course, when I cracked the shell open, the commutator again was really dirty. So I cleaned the commutator and the plates in between, gave the lubrication where it needed, especially to the axles underneath. So the one thing wrong with this locomotive was the rear of the shell. It was painted over, the number boards and the rear headlight. And looking inside the shell, there was something mounted in there, so that you could, I mean, when illuminated, so would the number boards and the light would illuminate, but it was painted over. And what I suspect was that the fine folks at Rocco, since this was made in Austria, they must have just mount them and paint it over. So I scraped it off. This is what happens when you don't use a re-railer. And I'm going to close in. Now, I'm going to bring it back. So, and really close and tight. Here we are. Now, it has a rear light. Now it's illuminated because I put in an LED. As for the gondolas, which I also got from AJ, I took burnt umber and a makeup brush, and I dried brushed the gondolas. So it has that weathered look. That's one gondola. This is a second gondola. And here is the third gondola. Of course, it's not as it's nowhere near the quality of weathering of Tony Sissons or Ted DiIorio, but it's a start. Now I didn't weather the locomotive because Amtrak washes their locomotives, don't they? So we have that. Moving right along. So here is the River Rossi E8A in the B&O livery that I got from Jerry for $20. It wasn't running at the swap meet. So when I cracked it open, of course, I saw the River Rossi motor, which is a vertically mounted motor, which is characteristic of the River Rossis for this type of locomotive. I mean, you also find that same type of motor in a GG1, albeit a different size and dimension. But again, it's a vertically mounted motor that has a brush in each, two brushes, and there's like a spring. The end of the spring has to be inside the brush itself. And what I had noticed was one of the springs was not in one of the brushes. So I put that back in, and we got ourselves a running locomotive. The light works, which is fantastic. And she runs magnificently. When I put her in the endurance track and ran her for about 10 to 15 minutes. Gorgeous. Absolutely perfect. So here we are with the Atlas Amtrak-8 BW, which I also got for $20 from Jerry. Wasn't running at the swap meet. So I figured, what if this thing, before I cracked the shell open, I said, what if this thing is DCC? So I set the main line, one of the DCC EX main lines, to programming mode so I could read the decoder. The decoder said 127 when I put in for CV8, to read CV8. And I looked up what CV 127 stood for, and it told me that it was a ESU loc sound um, decoder in there. So I'm like, okay, did I just get a sound equipped locomotive for DCC locomotive for $20? So, and when I read the locomotive number, it gave me like a really weird locomotive number. So I don't know why the previous owner of this locomotive gave it that cab number. So I renumbered it to 506 because that's what the cab number is. 506. So I put it to 506 and I got nothing. No sound, no bell. I got a light, but no bell, no horn, no ignition sequence, nothing. Rats. So, after a little negotiation, I cracked the shell open. And to my surprise, there was no decoder in there. Why it wasn't responding to a DC throttle was the same situation as the Atlas Jeep 40. It's one of those decoder blanking plugs where if you set it to one position, it's DCC ready, and if you set it to a different position, it's for DC analog. So, I mean, there go my hopes and dreams. No blinking ditch lights, none of that fun stuff. So, I moved the plug over to DC analog, and we got us a running locomotive. She's gorgeous all the same. I like her. And I think it likes that I like her. But we have that. So I'm a happy camper all the same. And of course, I know I can always put a decoder in down the line. But I'm a DC guy. So moving right along. Alright, so here we have the Bowser GE U25B. It is on one of the DCC EX main lines because when I was sharing what I had picked up at the swap meet, and I applied the power on the test track, the bell went off, which meant I was dealing with a sound-equipped DCC decoder. When I set the main line into programming mode, I read CV8, and it said that it was an ESU loc sound decoder. CV7 said that it was a Loc Pilot V3.0. So I was searched for the paperwork for Loc Pilot V3.0. Of course, none of it made any sense, but I just wanted to figure out how to get this thing working. As far as with the bells and everything else. And then, after further research, I found the quick start guide for this locomotive, and it said it was Loc Sound Select. So I downloaded the Loc Sound Select manual. I have yet to read through this stuff because I'm the kind of person who just wants to get the train to run. I don't need bells, whistles, the sound of a locomotive. I mean, I have that all in my head, but enough of that jibber jabber. I'm keeping this locomotive because it's nice. It's nice looking, and it's a New Haven. So I'm just going to go into Track Manager and set this to DCC main. So I believe that's already all set. So here goes nothing. Lights off, lights on. The bell, the horn. This is speed step 24. Now, I'm going to put her into reverse. The light's still on. No one's home. The light just came on. Speed step 4. And I'm going to hit the brakes. I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous. If you can hear me over the engine. But, I mean, I have yet to look through this ESU Loc Sound Select manual to figure out how to change the configuration values on any of this. But like I said, I'm the kind of person who just wants to put the locomotive on the track get it to run. So here we are with that. And I'm just going to show these locomotives in action. Stay tuned. So, for this segment of seeing these locomotives in action, it's all Amtrak on all three main lines. So I've got the C424 and its gondolas on the DC main line. On the middle DCCEX main line, I've got the other Amtrak locomotive I got from AJ. The three Mantua passenger cars that it's pulling are from my when I got into the hobby over 40 years ago. This is part of the early days of my being in the hobby. And I think maybe that AHM is going a little bit too fast. Let's slow her down some. The Atlas-8 BW is pulling pretty nicely, as are the P42 and the C424. I'm a very happy camper. Alright, so it's time to wake this girl up. And bring her up to speed step 36. And while that one's moving, let's get this girl running. Oop. Sorry, guys. And all right, so must have hit something in the tracks, the New Haven. But no, we're running. And I got us. Hold on. Alright, crisis averted. Had a derailment on my hands with the B&O. But we're good. We're golden. Now, I'm not a DCC guy, but I am glad that I'm happy with this purchase. I don't understand any of the CV values or how to change the sound of the locomotive or how to change the sound of the horn, because these DCC instructions, they may as well be written in Swahili. But you know what? I got this girl running. Maybe eventually down the line I could find out how I could change maybe the how this locomotive sounds as it's pulling a consist. And it stopped. Hold on. Alright. I figured out what the problem was, that it was stalling out over there on the wall side of the layout. Seems that the number 6 crossover that I have over there is not plastic, it's metal. And of course, when it comes to metal frogs and DCC locomotives, if I understood correctly, they don't get along so well. So I'll have to look into insulating that frog if I run a DCC locomotive on the inner main line, which is this one. This inner main line over here. Sorry, had to let the train pass. So it's just a matter of I might have to run it on the inside DCC EX mainline. But we've got us a running locomotive. Now, don't ask me. For all that I know, it might just need a keep alive. I don't know where to put it. I wouldn't know where to put it. The important thing is this locomotive runs. And for the future, I'll just put it on the inside DCCX main line because I don't have any metal frogs to worry about. And I know I'm going to run into that problem again. Yeah. I just accelerated it to get over that frog. So, with that being said, I want to thank all of my subscribers for their continued support. If you are not already a subscriber, there is a link in the bottom right-hand corner. Please help me reach and surpass the 350 subscriber threshold. I would really appreciate that. Please like and share this video. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.